So good morning, everyone. This is Himanshu. I'm the founder and CEO of the GoTrust. The goal is to bring in more and more knowledge to the market. And while doing that, thanks to Vikas, we are able to do this session for you. We're going to do deep dive on the data side and how the DSPM helps to manage multiple challenges around the data. One of the most infamous item is shadow data because have done a lot to protect ourselves, but this unknown thing which is in the ecosystem and now specifically focusing on the data side, the unknown data, uh, this creates a lot of challenge. So let's start from here. Now, what is shadow data, right? I'll give a live example rather than me telling you all these jargons. Marketing teams now from years ask you for the campaign data. So somebody from a tech team creates data package and gives to the marketing team. Nobody asks them, for example, where the market data is. Have they used the data? They have deleted it, or it's in the laptops? They made a copy of it. About how they're using that copy. So many forgotten data, which is either backed up on the cloud or is not known or is there, but the current team doesn't know. Now you can imagine this is collecting from last 10 years, and many people from the marketing has come in and gone. But nobody knows what is left over in the D drive. Nobody has touched it because it was some company sensitive data, but nobody ever used it. So this one of the very basic example which I have seen myself in my companies when I was working in the past as a CIO, CTO. So that creates a lot of one of the examples creates a lot of kind of shadow data. Now, unmonitored APIs. So we all know we have a lot of APIs. So there was a big fashion of creating APIs 4 years, 5 years ago. There's a big trend that we do everything through API. There's a positive and there's a negative side of it. Small packet, heavy data load, heavy data packet. We all know about that challenge. But what happened is we are not doing API inventorization. If you don't do API inventorization, we have a lot of APIs. Some of them were authenticated. Few of them were not authenticated by purpose because there was no personal data, or it was third parties, or it was used by the system internally. A lot of things were there. Now, those unaccounted APIs pass certain data, which is not directly personal or not directly critical data for you. But if I aggregate two APIs and connect them, it becomes personal or critical or sensitive, whichever way you think it's applicable to your organization. Very, very challenging and very important to think over it. What do you have in your organizations and if in your applications even, if you're having so. And the last one is the rogue developer database. So we have a lot of test environment. You will not believe we are doing discovery and DSPM scanning. For all our customers, we are also asking to scan the test environments also. Because, as per rule, when we have production data, we anonymize the data and then we copy it to test environments. But again, believe me, this is not happening most of the times. It looks it's been done, but part of the data is done, most of it not done. I can tell you, my company 6 years ago, when I was working, we used to do the profiling of the drivers who were driving the DHL and all different vans here in Europe. While doing the profiling, we said, okay, personal data is name, phone number, email ID. We used to mask it or anonymize it and dump it into the test environment. Then we had a legal review because Europe, after GDPR came in, it's quite active. And I'm just giving you real life scenario so that we can relate it. So we had a legal audit, including the data that was triggered by the mother company, so that we are very sure that we don't do anything wrong. And if you're doing anything wrong, we can fix it before the auditor comes. More of internal assessment, but again, very, very deep. So we had a legal review because we were doing a lot of customer data profiling and we were processing 1 billion data points a day. Very heavy servers were used. And profiling was like to the point at where the car was driven. You saw the school signboard. Have you slowed the car, or you still not ignoring those boards to that level, basically. Now, when the lawyer came and we sat together, we called them the day. They argued only one question from the legal standpoint of view. You are masking or anonymizing partial data not the address where the car went. I don't know if the car is ours. We know where it has, where it's going. So how come? Why should we do that? And again, once we master data, we know precisely it is. Nobody can identify whether it's Himanshu's data or it is Vikas data. The challenge which has come in that discussion, and that was an eye opener for me too, was boss, if I map all your data irrespective of the people, I will lose very critical information about the company. It means mapping all the data without the personal information, but address was there, the drop locations and another route was there. Then they can figure out the density of the delivery, which is a very critical information for a company. So sometimes uh, I see some chat is going much, your voice is repeating, hard to understand. It's clear for others, maybe. Good morning, everyone. Can you ping if my voice is clear or it's a
Yeah,
bit
Himanshu, voice is clear. There is no challenge with your voice.
fine? Fine. So my point was very simple that uh, sometimes you'll think you have done enough, but enough is not enough. And now, uh, 6 years down the line, we see how much uh, cyber incidents are happening. And how the hacker is trying to connect the dots, how the lateral movements basically, knowing weakness in one system, jumps to the other and to other, and trying to create the chain of events, and then data leak is happening, or at least connecting all the known and unknown data and then trying to move from there. So, some examples how the shadow data is created. What is shadow data, so that we can at least look into our own office and our own workplace and try to break this. See, the goal is not to give you all the jargons. Goal is to give you the live examples. Goal is to tell you the problems so that you can fix it, and then show you how we can, at least at the GoTrust, how we are managing it. And if you have some ideas, please put them on the chat. We have last 15 minutes to do live discussion here. Maybe going on to questions one on one, and then we have colleagues sitting. They can also answer the questions if you have. Okay, fine. The data security. The problem with data security in today's world is the exposure. So, how much data is exposed where? Now, if we see this example, which I just gave, so my data exposure was limited because I had done the anonymization, but I forgot the configuration part. So then the data mapping was happening. I should have anonymized the whole data, but I have not done it. So was again a live example where data exposure was to the test environment, and the test environment was not secured as enough. So one of the exposure area which you have to look into it, how much data is going into public facing websites. So what we have done is we have moved to 3-tier architecture. Must have, I must say. So your internal URLs browser should not be visible on the public cloud, or let's say the public net. Minimize the exposure, maximize the security. That's the trend today which we are following. Insider threat and risk. So now what you have heard so far, a lot of things on the news. What you see is most of the times the laptop of an employee is compromised, and then uh, through him or through her, the access has happened to the system and data leak has happened. So if we take this example very seriously, excessive permissions, orphan accounts, so maybe where there are a lot of time dead accounts are there which are being used, unmonitored third-party vendor access, no visibility into who accessed what and when. So point I mentioned with this unmonitored third-party vendor access is please do the how I must say, two things are applied here step by step. One is the session. So sessions, if you have vendors, third party sessions should be limited time for limited time, not unlimited. So please check those things. Very, very important. Other important thing is if you have not implemented the key management, please implement the key management so that the keys are rotated. Even if somebody has got into the top, they will not be having full access to the servers or full time access towards uh, different systems, basically. Orphan account. So please check the usage of the who is using what, how much access he or she has, which account. And if employees have gone, left the company or not in that same role, please change their roles, because this is the second biggest problem creator when it comes to insider theft, from where the leak or things are happening. And then again, DLP is becoming the most important part of the solution. So please work on it. DLP, DSPM, complete solution. Then I will go to the complex cloud environments. This is also very interesting, because now we are on multi-cloud, on-prem, so multiple places, but we forgot to add the visibility layer to it. And that creates a very big problem in this domain. I'm not a very big expert of this area, but I can tell you what I've learned in this domain. Uh, so if your data is spread across multiple domains and regions, so that's one of the thing. Sometimes people do this strategy, diversified. So not one, and they do it for, let's say, localization reasons. They do it for cost reasons. They do it for multiple other reasons. Uh, so sometimes valid, but sometimes you have to keep an eye on it. Uh, like I said, they forgot the visibility to build a visibility layer on it, and that is the whole challenge which brings up on it. Then people think, I'm talking to a lot of people. They said we have done the manual discovery. So rather doing the automated data discovery. So I was telling them, sir, at least one time you should do it. So to find out all the loopholes in the system. Uh, Otherwise, what will happen is you just don't know what the developer or the business guy has told you. That's information you have, but there's no reality check on the data side. So that is one of it. The compliance and governance gaps. Thanks to DPDPA, this has become mandated in India now. So many companies have started to do the discovery and make sure that they have the correct information around where the PII, PFI, PHI is there. Again, when I say thanks to DPDPA, does not mean that we should, if the law is there only, then we should do the job. No, we should be aware of already where the PII, PFI, PHI. Not only this, but again, you should also have a tagging to your data sets. When the software classification should be tagged also to which department it is, whether it's sensitive or non-sensitive. Because a lot of actions can be taken. So if sensitive data, let's say you have a good DSPM solution, and then if sensitive data is there, the sensitive data will make sure that you have right alerts implemented on top of it, sensitive data classification. So in case a data exposure is happening or data is exposed, so minimum data is exposed with the right tags, you know when to take the trigger. There is an auto remediation part in the tool. Tool can automatically go and remediate. That means it can cut the connection of that specific table or server from the internet, put it into quarantine for X amount of time, and then ask a manual intervention there, whether it's right or wrong. So those things are part of this piece. There's one more thing is called UABA, behavior analysis, which is under the insider threat piece, which is also very interesting. But only thing is, if you have implemented our solution for 3 months approximately, then we have very clear analytics done by our agent, so that it can analyze and show you what's happening also. Okay, so let's move on. Why now? I will just answer the question. The DPDPA is enforced now, 13th May 27. The enforcement has to be live. So if I now look at the databases uh, of all our customers, huge ones. Now, if you want to scan all the database with this level of scanning, PIP, line by line, row by row, scanning takes time. So we can scan around 1 TB of data in a day, approximately, mixed of complex structured and structured files. Mostly it is unstructured. Structured we don't count as any speed, because with the sampling you can do very fast, and anyone can do that very fast. So the most of the challenges with unstructured data within the tables like JSON and others, where you need to have a context, keywords, samples, then only the quality goes up, because regex is the past now. If you have regex-based scanning, it will not be of any help. So law is here. So you have to comply, make sure it is compliant. Fines are heavy. I'm not going to talk about it. We all know. Why spreadsheets can't keep up? It was a very interesting point because I was talking to some of the companies where they said we have it all mapped in Excel. So I was helping them out saying, sir, Excel is a problem because not only the data, but the law. It's very interesting what how the law is, right? Uh, um, how the law acts. Law says you can collect all data from all your customers, no problem. You have to prove the purpose for collection. And let's say law also says you will keep all the data as long as you want, no problem. You have to tell the purpose of usage of the data for the time. The law has given you all the opportunity. Problem is, if I'm collecting Aadhaar card, PAN card, whatnot, and I only needed an email ID from you to communicate with you, right, and make an account for you. Nothing more than that. Then it becomes a problem, and then you can be in the court having good fine. Now, second point is, let's say you needed Aadhaar card, PAN card. Let's say example, loan application. I'm applying for a home loan, right? I've given you my Aadhaar card, PAN card, all the data which you've asked for. Question is, now I've given you all of that. Now the question is, today is day zero. I am applying for it. I've given you data. My background check, my CIBIL score, my physical check. For that, the company is going to use 3 or 4 or 5 different third-party vendors. They will share my data with them. So, okay, first month, let's say 2 months. My loan is approved in first month. I got the money for the housing loan. I got the house. Plus 2 months. So total 3 months from day zero. Right? My question is, the purpose to share the data to third party is done. Now you should automatically revoke it. Plus, for you to keep the data in multiple databases is also not needed. You can keep it, but also it's not needed. You should also minimize the data where it is. Now, this counts of 2 or 3 problems in a row. Number one, it will connect to the consent because once you connected my data, you must tell me that okay, you are my. I need a consent for doing background check. I need consent for doing blah blah blah, and we'll pass on to third party company. And whether you opt in as a mandatory consent or it's written in the privacy policy doesn't matter. The point was you will write there that you're going to keep the data for X amount of days, blah blah blah. You'll pass on to third party, you'll keep the data, share the data with them, and for this purpose. Then with you and your partner, let's say the CBIL partner or the physical check partner, you have to sign a DPA. There you will mention the life cycle of the data. So if you connect all the dots, the 3 layers now, you know that data minimization has been implemented by the concept. Now you have to see it in the reality. And that is the challenge which nobody is not nobody, many of us is not thinking yet, because if you think we have done the consent, it's done. No, consent is not just checkbox. It is implemented, deep rooted within your organization, and this is how it will be checked. Okay, show me this, show me this, show me this, and if your paper says that data from your vendor has to be deleted within 30 days or 90 days, for example, why it has not been deleted? If you have signed a very clear DPS with the vendors, it will all clear, and hence the Excel cannot match all of these requests anymore. After taking a loan, if I apply for a DF, I fill it a data deletion request, it is not fulfilled and I'm aware of it's not fulfilled, then I'm taking it to the court, which creates a very, very big problem for the companies, because the goal of the company was intention. The company was very honest, very nice to make sure that they offer you the loan. They did everything to give you the loan, and now they are being sued because they're giving you loan and not following uh, the DPDP norms. Again, if you look at the other side and flip the coin, the point is very simple that data minimization has to be done, because today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow, one of the vendors might not be very strong and you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. There might be insider threat where access has been zero, just sitting on a time bomb in that scenario too. So let's make sure that we follow this process. Now, I will give you the glimpse of our GoTrust DSPM, what all things we do, what we just mentioned now, and show the live what we have so that we can take the next 15 minutes on this part, and then we'll go to the question Q&A round basically. If there any question, please ask, then we'll know. We'll pick up those questions if there are any in the chat, please. Um, So GoTrust DSPM, we are agentless data discovery and scanning when it comes to the clouds, when it comes to on-prem servers, when it comes to different type of asset class. We do structured, unstructured file servers, NAS, whichever you name it. Now we call it, you name it, we have it. That's the motto we have. There's some ones which are not very common in the market. Then we basically add those connectors so that we have a good coverage, and we keep on adding those connectors basically. Now we have multiple level of scans running. So first of all, infrastructure. Sorry. Now we can also offer a hybrid, so multi-cloud. So we had customers where the part of the application was running on AWS, Azure, and part of it was on the on-premise. So we are able to connect, and for us was very simple. We asked the customer, give us the host environment where we have to deploy our solution. It's on-prem deployed. It runs without internet. There's a lot of AI models running, but everything runs locally and without internet. And that's a big safeguard which we provide to our customers. Okay. Now, if I look at this part, so the key aspect on the cloud was this. Then we also have, we have done one more thing very interesting. I will show you live also. We also have connected on-prem, let's say the many big companies who have big on-prem setup. And when it's on-prem setup, it is very hard to integrate or hard to get all the assets automatically registered on your device for the scanning. So we have CMDB setup already done. So in case your company has a big, huge, complex setup on the on-premise, then we can also take that, to be honest. Automatically we can add. So we also have a cloud connector. So if you're on the cloud, so we go on cloud and we connect to the cloud, and then we have automatically we can add all the assets to our database so that we can scan them. So if 500-600 assets, you do not have to manually add them, right? It makes the life difficult. Plus, it is also not very accurate that we have these many assets added, because we are as a human, mistakes will happen and not so time consuming. So that is part of the connection. So many. I've already opened the live environment here. If I go on the connector side, the sources, these are our own actual sources which are there. These are the endpoints, the laptops which are being scanned, different endpoints, Linux, MacBooks. These are, if I go to sources, you see these are our sources, Teams, Outlook, SharePoint, Microsoft Defender, Amazon. And we have like team of 5 people just working on the connector on daily basis. But today we have, last month we had 300, now we are around 400, 450 something. So 3 months, Dynamics, EC2, SAP, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Oracle, Databricks, yeah, BigQuery. It's humongous list, and it's going beyond. We have CMDB, ServiceNow is there. Others are HRMS tools are there. SaaS-based applications are there. Marketing applications are there. Then for a lot of the customers, we build custom connectors are there. And if you have API-based integrations, then we don't even now add it. We directly go to our API connector. It connects and it starts filling the data. So we stop making any custom database, or let's say SaaS platform connectors, because we don't have to. Our API connector will connect with the SaaS platforms we'll get. So we don't name them also anymore, because it makes no sense to do so. Whatever we have is from the past. Now we have cloud connectors here, where I was talking about. We just add at a cloud level. Oracle, all the major clouds are here. We can add all the assets directly. So going back, I just wanted to show a glimpse. Now, the continuous monitoring is real thing, real-time discovery of new PIs as they're created. Deep scanning, structured, semi-structured, unstructured. Uh, so if I when we talk about deep scanning, we want to show you one thing is this is a NAS storage unstructured file. If I click on this asset, I go directly into the uh, let's say the overview of that asset, how many PII it has, PI count, how many file formats was found on that asset, how many fields were there, how many file types were there, all this 10 plus, how many data elements were identified, mail, PAN, gender, and then again, you see with the confidence score it comes. It's not just a number that things are coming up. Then very interesting part is the risk level. So this is very interesting. This is not a risk register or risk configurator for this is specifically for your DSPM. We have a risk configurator for compliance, which goes under the privacy governance, or you can say GRC. This is the risk calculator for your data. Very, very interesting how you do so. Now, overall risk is low, criticality is medium, compliance is high for this database or this asset. The compliance high is enforced. Anything so 8 policies are enforced on this one. 0 are violating. If anything was violated, it would have come by severity, and then we would have got the compliance score as lower. Now, criticality score 60 is coming up. So, how many data records are there? And everything is configurable, to be honest. So, this gives a very in-depth analysis of the riskiness of the data. So, if I go on the dashboard, you see the summary of everything is here. This is the summary of everything. The criticality, the compliance, the overall, the risk score. We go further here, you see access level, which we'll go and talk about what access who has in a minute. Open violations per policy. How many policies are created and enforced. Shadow data types. Data is for test, data is copied to test environments, public sensitive data. What type of PI data is exposed or can be exposed? This is the riskiness of the data. So these things are very, very critical, which make sure that you have solved or at least have closed these pointers. So I'll go back to the deck. Otherwise, I will keep on doing this for a very long time. How much time is left? I have to keep a check on the time, guys. So really sorry. 10 more minutes to go. Intelligent data and classification. So very smart thing we did that we didn't stop at discovery. We did data classification and data tagging. Both of them together gave our tool a big boost compared to the market. At the level which we want to go and understand, we go to the classification directly here. So I click on the pair dictionary. I will show you how the classification is. On this setup, we have 200 odd data elements. We have around 5,000 elements just for Indian context, different industry, different. If I go further here, if I look for an Indian address, very interesting thing, which is because the worst thing what data discovery tool does is of the address. If an address comes, that's the hardest thing to solve within the. Now, if you see the Indian address format, how we have done, our regex information is under it. We have regex patterns. We have regex patterns. We have context keywords, like I said. Address, home address, permanent address, current address. Some samples, MG Road, Lajpat Nagar, sectors, this Banjara Hills, Chandni Chowk, Gandhi Chowk, sorry. And again, more and more we go to customer, this keeps on enriching, and the name patterns, how the tables are stored, home on address underscore office underscore this. So this helps us to make our solution very, very solid, and accuracy of discovery is always very high. Even in the first scan, where there are a lot of times we have a lot of false positive, we don't have a lot of false positive. We only have false positive for the PI elements which are not configured in our PI dictionary. That's it. So it's very interesting how we go, how we do. Now, sorry, I didn't explain you one thing. So this was the PII. I told you how the regist pattern and the context fields are mapped. There's the then you create a PI here, and you can have a data format if you have some kind of ID like XX hyphen YYY, like a license number has some. So we can also do that. It also helps in making sure we identify the data within unstructured data properly. Sensitivity is there, region is there, detection type, and elements are there. So now going back to the classification. So I go to data catalog first. In the data catalog, I have business glossary. Within the business glossary, I have all the business glossary I was talking about, so different glossaries, plus the tags, government ID, personal ID, what it is. And then you can create sensitive, non-sensitive, company-specific finance data, this data. You can get those tags created here. Once these tags are there, together with these two things, and this tagging, the solution becomes really good because then you can run your data principles rights management with 100% guarantee that if I am a customer and I'm an employee, I am to rightly know that DSR is raised by the customer. So I only have to manage the customer related data. Not I'm not going to delete the employee related data. So let's move on. The risk analysis and the prioritization. So again, intelligence system, like I said, policies are revoked, not revoked. So I'll show you the policies also live, how they're created. And then this is the output of the policy. So multi-factor risk scoring, sensitive level, exposure level, access permissions, security configuration, vulnerability context, identity risk. And then you have your monitoring and alert side where alerts are coming uh, in different patterns, basically. Let me say that. Rather me telling you, I'll show you. Um, so here is the data policy. You see 20 policies are created, 8 are active. Here is a policy configurator. We can go and create a policy. You create it, scope it, add the rules or atomic rules. The word is used very much in the market. Set the type of violation. So what I'm going to do is I'll edit this one, which is already created, and let's see. It's already there. So it's access policy. PI data must not be visible publicly accessed. Uh, Severity is high. I'll go next. The scope is all data which is PI classified, but we can do this at the department level or database level. We can also go to that level. So you have to run a delta scan on a specific department, on a specific asset, on a specific laptop. You can also configure that also from that. You can go to that level. You can do asset type. You can want to scan a structure on a structured one. You can do that. You can set the environment, dev, UAT, prod, others. You can do that. Any specific storage location or any specific asset you want to run, you can filter that out. Any department, you can filter that out. You can go to the user level. If you go to the department and to the user, you can do that too. Any specific tags for which you want to run. So all the data assets which are tagged with the government ID, we are going to rescan them, whether they're correctly or not. We can do that. So it goes to very, very deep levels. And now rule creation is here. If access equals public, it's a very basic one. Then flag as a violation. And you can go very, very complex rules. You can create multiple other conditions, different fields, DB name, contain something, uh, contains a value, I mean, it's public or anything in it. We can create a rule here. And then that rule will be worded as flagged. So this is the rule, and I'll go quickly to the next one where monitoring and alerts are coming. Now you see this alert came in. 3 policies are active, 247 violations. The time violated is 1, and it is also violated. So we already have very clear visibility on violations and the violated part also. Now if I clicked on this one, now you see is uh, financial data must be available. Oops, sorry. One step back. So I'm now looking at the first one. So it has been violated 52 times. Now what has happened is This data is visible publicly. Now I can treat it. I can accept the risk because sometimes I cannot fix all the things. What is the possibility? If I want to treat it, it will go. It will take me to the treatment strategy. How you want to treat it. It will ask me to add uh, some methods. If these are not enough, it will also ask me to add a manual method. If that is the way to treat it, basically mask it or do something, and then mitigate it basically. So this is the level where we are heading to, and we have to make sure that things are running fully automated. And going back to the violation where I was monitoring an alert, I clicked on this one, then I clicked on the first one, and now it is giving me also the details. So watch out! I have not clicked on the view button. Now it is giving me the details. Why this policy was broken 4 times or 3 times. I said name, asset underscore name column of this table contains PII full name. Asset is structured. Request number column by ID contains PI table. Asset number security is false. So it goes to that level. It reads from the table, from the column. It's coming up. So when you look at how deep it goes to the level. If I show you how much, how far I go on the structured tables or unstructured files, you will be amazed a bit. This is our OneDrive scan. If I go to the technical metadata, we're scanning 3 employees. If I go on one of the employees for the unstructured scanning, you see all the files which is there. They all have been. This file is now uh, tagged. Basically, uh, data elements in his account is this many, and we can go to the file level now. Let me open a specific file on this laptop. L3, no PI, bank account files. We'll open this. So this is the file on the laptop. Data element was bank account number. Very simple only thing. We don't get the data. We only get the metadata. So that's how it is always created. Okay, you got the gist of it. I'm not going to bore you with this. The remediation was very important. That how we remediate it. We can also set up an auto fix of a specific scenarios. So tool will auto decide. The basic remediations can be done. I will not. In the beginning, I always say that we learn from the type of actions coming in, and then we automate each one of them. So auto fix is enabled in a step-by-step manner. So that's the reason it does. And if you don't know how to do it, you can also click on the view step to tell you how to treat. And this all is dynamically generated. Nothing is everything is done. Our AI models are doing it again without internet. They're doing all the job. They're hosting it again within your environment or SaaS, whichever you want. In both the scenarios, the data model is treating this, not taking any data out of any system because we claim we run without internet. So nothing can go out anyways without the internet. And with 3-tier architecture, it solves a lot of big problems. Now I'll go to the next one here, the data lineage and the flow. So this also has become very interesting because now we need to make the lineage not within the asset but cross asset also. So because life has become very complex and we want to make sure that email ID, wherever it is, we know. Schema matching, environment mapping, transformation monitoring, cross-region tracking, unauthorized application and detection. So we have to do this too. Quickly, if I go here on the tool, if I go on catalog, I have I have full data catalog. Per asset, what is there, full PII mapping, the full lineage. You saw the picture there, almost. I'm generating it live, basically, for you. So this is what we call it a PII mapping. Change the PII to email ID or PAN number or phone number. It takes time. So you see how many assets have different phone numbers, and you see the map here where it goes. But I can also generate a lineage. These are my all different assets. Plus, if I go here, I select Postgres. We generate the lineage. So this my lineage is also generated. This is a single asset. I can also add multi-asset to it with this plus buttons. I can go and connect the other databases also, other assets also, not database, other assets to create a multi-asset. Uh, I guess it's good enough. I think a minute left for me before I stop. So let me cover my last slide. Um, so identity and access management, like told you that who has got access. So if I go here in access discovery, we per asset we read, we know precisely who has got access. Like anonymous user is there, he has access to 6 different assets, who has full read and write permissions. You have to, the identity and access becomes the key today to make sure it is solved. So click here, you see the mapping, all different data types, Oracle scanning. Like anonymous user has access to all of these assets basically. Uh, this gives a very good insight about how how much risky the specific user is, and specifically ones who are write and read. Even the read ones are now dangerous because people read it data and then put it on the dark web. Earlier we thought only the full access or the write access are problematic, but now the read ones also. So these are data owners of different assets basically. And if there is an orphan asset left, normally we solve it. So if there's orphan asset, we'll use the list of the orphan assets here, means the assets which do not have anybody tagged to, or does not have any department or anything tagged to. So we get this list here. Compliance automation reporting. So I already showed you this reporting part. We also go to the reporting. So now what we did is, it's all empty here. Sorry for this. Do I have blocks left? Yeah, our blocks are left. Nice. We have weekly cleanup of our database. So uh, it will be loaded in some times, but um, the very most important thing after doing all of this is you have to be compliant. Now you have to be DPDP compliant. Now SEBI came in, you have to be SEBI compliant. So with our DSPM, we directly make sure your ILB SEBI SIFT compliant, SEBI CSS compliant, SAS compliant. We have all the controls are fully automated. Full is wrong word. Most of the controls are automated, to be honest. Some are manual, which cannot be. So with our tool, we can help you comply not only DPDP, when we can jump on the security side. We have all those regulation mapped under UCF. Now we are also coming up very soon this week with RBI data governance guidelines, which just came up a month ago. So then that will also be added here. So you can also comply with that too. So this is how we are working. And if I click on RBI security framework, I was not joking. So if I click on this, the complete regulation will open up. And if I click on this button, the whole requirement, how it is compliant, not compliant, opens up. So we have mapped everything. And now goal was that each of these tasks becomes automated or partially automated, so that the compliance score comes automatically. So that's why I say it's fully automated and compliant. Uh, then further the compliance policies, basically. Yeah. And that was, I think, the last slide. Thank you, everyone. So if there are questions, we're happy to answer. I will stop my screen.